Hello, my name's Bill Bruyar, and I'd like to talk to you today about an exciting new business opportunity called the Way of the Curd. But before we get started, let me ask you one important question. Where did your lunch come from today? Now, for years, consumers were happy to go to the grocery store and buy food that was relatively cheap and relatively tasty without ever really considering where it came from. Because to them, it basically came from a black box. They had no idea who made it, they had no idea where it was made, and they had no idea what they put into it. So, if you had Kraft cheese for lunch today, there's a chance that it came from one of these old Rust Belt factories. Recently, consumers' tastes have changed. They're sick of mass market foods. They want three things from their food. They want authenticity. They want food that's made in a way that they can understand. They want quality. They want food that's made with ingredients that they've heard of. And finally, they want food to be local. They want a sense of place with their food. They don't want food to come from the other side of the nation. They want a food that comes from a place that they can identify with. Basically, consumers are seeking a connection to their food. And that's where the Way of the Curd comes in. Our value proposition is based around three important things that helps give customers a connection to that food. For starters, we have a high quality selection of cheese. Now this is cheese that's both local and international. Additionally, we have cheese crafted in-house. So the consumers come in, they see our cheesemongers hard at work through a window, working on the cheese that they can taste right there at our counter. Finally, we have artisan cheese making classes. Now, when the consumers come in and they see the cheese being made, they think, wow, I'd love to try that. They can do that under the tutelage of our very own cheesemongers with their friends and family if they'd like. And together, this forms the trinity of experience, learning, and appreciation. The experience of coming into the store, seeing cheese being made actively in the store, seeing the wide variety of cheeses, and then that leads to the learning. The learning when they come in and they make the cheese in-house under the tutelage of our cheesemongers, and they think to themselves, wow, all this time I thought cheese was just a staple product. I never realized the craftsmanship that goes into it. It truly is an artisan product. And when they start to think that, they gain an appreciation for it. And the appreciation manifests itself in the fact that they're going to come in there and they're maybe going to branch out and try some cheeses that they hadn't tried before, because they realize that since it is an artisan product, they really want to broaden their horizons and try different flavors that they wouldn't have maybe given a chance before if they were just buying it to put on a sandwich. Now, we went out and we surveyed over 250 individuals, and we came up with this target market customer profile. Our target customer is female. She's 25 to 45, and she has an average income of over $75,000, which is important because we are talking about high-end cheeses. Now, we took that information and we bounced that against census information, and we found that in the areas of Western Washington, most of the cities have a population of this target customer that hovers around 60,000 people. But in Bellevue, it's 125,000 people. And so for that reason, we want to be located in Bellevue or as close to Bellevue as possible near the Seattle-Tacoma-Bellevue area. Now, our competitive position is really strong. There's 21 artisan cheesemakers in Washington State, and only 2 of those are located in that Seattle-Tacoma-Bellevue area that we're looking to operate in. Additionally, only one of our competitors even offers cheese-making courses, and that's River Valley Cheese in Issaquah. Now, it's true that there are a lot of chain stores that sell third-party cheeses, but they lack that sense of authenticity and that sense of place when it comes to the cheeses. Basically, the consumers walk into the store and they see a bunch of cheese in a cheese case, and they don't really know what they're looking for. I know I liken it to when I go out and I look for wine. I'm not a big wine enthusiast, but I walk down an aisle and I see 500 bottles of wine. And so basically I'm left looking for a wine that has a cool logo or a cool name. And when I leave the store, I don't leave excited about the bottle of wine that I bought. I leave feeling the crushing opportunity cost of the 499 bottles of wine that I didn't buy. So our competitive analysis, we have 3 main offerings, and so for that reason we have competition coming from 3 main angles. The first is high-end grocers like PCC markets. Now, as I mentioned, they have a fine selection of cheeses, and they have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to economies of scale and the convenience of being able to pick up your cheese when you do the rest of your shopping. But they lack that authenticity and they lack that sense of place. We also have artisan cheesemakers such as Beecher's, which is probably the most notable artisan cheesemaker in the area. And they make cheese, but they really focus on making cheese to sell to like the third-party vendors like the PCC markets, and they don't really focus on the whole experience or becoming a hub the way that the Curd is looking to do. We also have cheese making course providers like River Valley Cheese. Now, as I mentioned, they're the only ones in the area that actually have cheese making courses, and they lack that full experience that we're looking to set up in the Way of the Curd. They make some cheeses and they have the cheese making classes, but that's about it. They really haven't branched out very much further in trying to create an all-encompassing experience like the Way of the Curd is. And additionally, we have some miscellaneous threats that come from online threats. Online retailers of cheese is not a big space that's controlled by anybody really, because I think that consumers are hesitant to buy cheese online. I know that it can be done, but I know that I would be a little nervous buying cheese, something that's very perishable, and then having it possibly sit on a loading dock at a UPS warehouse for 2 days in the hot sun. Additionally, we have YouTube. Now, if you're like me, when you have to learn how to do something, you go onto YouTube and you just type it in there and learn how to do it. And so it's very possible that people could just learn how to make cheese by watching YouTube, but it's definitely not the same rich experience that you're going to get when you go to the store and you learn through those actual cheese masters and learn all of the tricks in the trade, how to do it, and they're right there over your shoulder helping you along. Additionally, a lot of these classes are attended by people with their friends and loved ones, and you lose a lot of that experience too if you just do it by watching a video online. Now, as far as advantages over the competition, we are the only artisan cheesemaker in Washington State that combines all three of the aspects that I mentioned. This results in an enthusiast-building community of learning through going through to the classes, getting in there hands-on, understanding how cheese is made, and that leads you to appreciate the cheese as an art form and as a craftsman product. And then you go in there and you taste different types of retail offerings that we have at the Way of the Curd. And this builds a whole experience where you go in and the store is not just a store, it's a hub for cheese making enthusiasts. So they go in there and they can try different cheeses, they can talk to different people that are interested in cheese making, they can take the classes and learn new aspects of cheese making, and even buy equipment for cheese making right there from the Way of the Curd. Now for operations, we're going to have Gouda made on site. Gouda is like a perfect cheese for us because it's got a great balance of accessibility, because the taste is tasty, but it's not so exotic that it's going to turn a lot of people off. But it's also complex enough that you can understand some of the nuance of the taste. Additionally, we're going to partner with local restaurants and brew pubs. Now this is absolutely key. This is one of the reasons why Beecher's been so successful, is that they go out there and they meet with local artisans and brew pubs and they get their cheese on the menu. And so when people are looking through the menu of their local brew pub, they see that Beecher's name right there next to the item that they're going to order. And so that provides a real nice synergy of both that local flavor as well as that authenticity. And then finally, we're going to have high quality customer service. Now, a lot of places talk about high quality customer service. It's kind of a buzzword that a lot of people throw out there. But this is actually going to be very, very key to what we're doing. And for that reason, we're going to take our sales associates and send them through the WSU Basic Cheesemaking course, which is a 3-day course where they can go out there and they can learn how to make cheese. They can get in there and understand all the intricacies of it and get a real baseline understanding of the cheese making as a craft. Additionally, we're going to have a quarterly training day. This is where Peterson's Cheese is going to come out and visit our store and then provide our sales associates with an experience of trying different cheeses that are new and exotic flavors for them, and then help them expand their flavor profile and also understand how the flavors are relative to each other. So when consumers come in and they say, "Hey, I love a certain kind of cheese. What goes great with that?" Our sales associates are able to take that information and then provide an adequate suggestion for the consumer, so they're not left staring at a bunch of cheeses looking for a cool logo or a cool name. So staffing. I touched on staffing a moment ago, and we also have a general manager. The general manager is going to oversee the front of the house as well as the back of the house cheese making operations, so retail side and cheese making side. Additionally, they're going to handle our inventory as well as our business-to-business sales. Now we're going to have 2 cheesemongers. Now this is really one of the halves of the beating heart of the operation, because the cheesemonger is key in 2 ways. They're important because they're actually out there making cheese and providing a tasty cheese for the business, as well as teaching the classes. So for this reason, they need to have both the knowledge and the skill set to make a delicious cheese on their own, and the charisma to teach those students how to make cheese in both the classroom as well as at home. For this reason, cheesemongers' salaries or hourly wage is usually $15 an hour, but we're going to bump it up to $22 an hour because we really want to get some of the higher end talent. Finally, sales associates. I mentioned them on the last slide. These are going to be very important because they're not just going to be ringing up sales, they're going to be talking to consumers and providing them suggestions on cheeses that they may enjoy. Sales associates are going to provide a very important experience because we're going to have customers that are going to come in and they're going to say, "Hey Bill, I just got done bottle conditioning a delicious double IPA and I need a cheese to go with it." And our sales associate is going to say that, "Well, that's a powerful flavor. We want to have a powerful flavored cheese to go with it." So what we have here is we've got a blue cheese that's made in France, aged in the same caves that they've been aging blue cheese in for 600 years. Or additionally, if you want something more local, we have this 5-year-old aged cheddar that's aged in the foothills of Crystal Mountain. And then if that's not local enough for you, we've got this 2-year-old smoked Gouda that's made right here by Mike, who taught your class last week, and it was aged 20 feet from where you now stand. And that is a connection to food that you are not going to get when you go digging through the dairy case at your local Fred Meyer. Now, as far as projected sales is concerned, we have, first off is our educational classes. Our projected sales for the first year is going to be $1,500. Now that's pretty aggressive, but we feel if we stick to our plan and we really work the synergy, we should be able to make this a reality. That's 1,500 students overall. So when we work in variations on the classes and provide new classes, we will have repeat customers. Additionally, our front of the house sales, we're looking for 75,000 units. Now that sounds like a lot, but bear in mind that that also includes not just our in-house made cheese, but also our third-party cheeses, as well as our cheese making equipment. And then finally we have our business-to-business sales. Now we're looking to sell 2,500 units of our business-to-business cheese, which is the bigger commercial size cheese, which retails for $50 as opposed to the $8 retail cheese. And then when all of this comes together, we're looking at a gross profit for our first year of about $390,000. Now, in order to get there and to keep the momentum going, we've got our development and milestones. So we have 2 goals. The first goal is to increase sales by 20,000 units per year. And our second goal is to increase class participation by 500 people per year. And the way to get there is through our marketing strategy of social media and food bloggers. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the most important things are authenticity, quality, and a sense of place. And we don't really provide a sense of authenticity or a sense of place when you use more informal sales methods like using a radio ad. So what we want to do is we want to get like a grassroots kind of campaign going on social media, as well as getting food bloggers involved so that they're out there and they're talking about the different kinds of cheeses that we have and the experience of going to the cheese making classes. These are names that you can trust. They're people that you read every week. So it already has that authenticity and that sense of place built right into it. Now, additionally, we're going to have sales activities. Now, these are going to be really cool activities where our main customers and other dignitaries, like the food bloggers, are going to be able to come in and try different types of cheese, maybe paired with some wine and some beer, and really get a sense of what cheese is all about when it's really paired with delicious beverages to help complete the flavor profile. And then additionally, we're going to have business-to-business sales. Now, this could be the same kind of activity where we bring in local restaurateurs and brew pub owners to come in and try different cheeses and see if that's a flavor that they could use on their menu. And then also we could bring them in when we offer new types of cheese. So when we launch a new product, we could bring in both our food bloggers as well as our business-to-business clients to come in and try those different flavors before they are released to the general public. And then finally, class subject variety. I touched on it earlier, but we need to have repeat customers to our classes. So if we offer one class, we're going to have one customer. But if we shake up that class variety and we have different types of cheese making classes, that's going to bring in repeat customers. They're going to come in, they're going to try to make the Gouda for the first time, and then if they like that experience, they might want to take that next step and try to make more intricate cheeses, more exotic flavors. Now, as far as our exit plan, local food and beverage companies have been acquired recently for some pretty staggering valuations. Sahale Snacks was purchased for $80 million, Charles Smith Winery was purchased for $120 million, and Dave's Killer Bread was purchased for a killer $275 million. Also, Bay's Beverages was purchased by Snapple Bottling Company for about 7 times their revenue. And that's what we've seen for a lot of these purchases, is that they've been purchased for 7 times their annual revenue. Now, for the Whey of the Curd, after 10 years, we project our annual revenue to be $3 million. Now, sales projections are hard enough to come up with 1 to 2 years out, let alone 10 years out. So for that reason, we stuck to a more conservative 5 times our revenue. So 5 times our revenue estimate of $3 million gives us the $15 million valuation that we are using for our exit plan. Now, what do we need to get started? Well, we need $250,000. So that includes $140,000 for property, plant, and equipment just to get us going, and then $110,000 for our working capital just to keep us going until we're able to turn a profit. So each one of the founders, myself included, has put up $25,000 of their own money. Now there's 5 of us, so that covers $125,000. But what we're seeking now is a loan for the other $125,000. Now the prevailing interest rate for that loan for a small business is 7.25%. So that'll give you a return of $51,000. And your money is secured with a lien on the assets of the business. So at this time, I'd like to ask you to create a connection to the food you eat and join our community of artisans today.